Everyone else has had more sex than me. Does anybody else get that feeling? Today I'll be talking about the pressure we get from society to fit into sexual roles as male and female. I've been researching these topics for several weeks now and have come upon many interesting things I'll be sharing with you today. I'm sure that most of you go to clubs and like picking up either guys or girls. You try to look your best, you know that if you look good, it'll be easier to get that guy or said girl that you want. Today I'll be discussing 3 specific things. The male sexual role, followed by the female sexual role, and then to tie it all together, them together as a couple. Different types of guys. We all know who this is, Brad Pitt. This is a typical guy that if you went to a club, girls are always going to be attracted to him. Good-looking face, good-looking body. Kind of the pressure that we put on men. They have to look good. They have to dress nice. Another type, the shaggy type. This guy also has a way with women. Women love his 5 o'clock shadow, his long shaggy hair, and his I don't care attitude. And then there's James Franco. He's kind of a hybrid in between. He can look good very shaggy, and he can look very good with a nice body. Sometimes you see pictures of him being kind of a little husky, and sometimes you don't. Anyway, so these 3 guys you mainly see inside of a club. Well, what about those guys that can't get the girl? Well, there's this book called The Game, written by Neil Strauss. This is the author. Doesn't look like much, right? But his book helps him get women. Basically, you need to change your entire image. He talks about how men just can't go into a club and expect women to come towards them. You have to approach women themselves. This is kind of another pressure that we put on men. You never see the woman going after a guy. But if you look good and you have that, I don't care about your attitude, he says, then you'll get lots and lots of women. So we're going to go on to different types of girls. Charlize Theron, very pretty, blonde bombshell. Sorry, I'm really nervous. Okay. And then there's Penelope Cruz. She's a very sultry Latin woman. And the next one would be Megan Fox, girl next door. Basically, these women are supposed to look pretty, beautiful, and they're supposed to be very proper. They look nice outside. They dress like horse, but they're not allowed to act like horse. It's going to be a little redundant from Trinidad. But whereas males, when they go out, they are supposed to go out and get some. They're supposed to go get the woman, but they don't understand that women have to actually give it to them. So why is it they're called chicken heads, whores, hoes, and tricks? Kind of double standard. Sorry. Okay. So basically, tying everything together. Together, men and women are supposed to be. Men can't achieve the sexual roles they desire without women giving them the okay. Women can't go out and be licentious without being mocked for it. Monogamy is looked down on in our society, and you can blame it a lot on the religious background. We were founded by Puritans, and they give certain standards. Women aren't supposed to go out. Men are supposed to be monogamous, but men are supposed to be monogamous, but yet we don't hold to those values today. And when you're looked upon in your peers, it can be a very negative effect. So anyway, the next time you are getting ready to go out, remember that society molded you the way you are to look for sex.
So, Anthony, what did you think?
I think it was a good opening line that really got my attention, and your thesis is pretty clear, and by the looks of your PowerPoint, it was pretty easy to figure out what you were talking about. But and I also thought you spoke clearly and fluently, and you had a lot of content, a lot of good information. Just I think you could have done a lot more research, I guess you could say, and just know your material better so that the flow wouldn't be interrupted. As if you could practice more so you can make eye contact, and I know that's one thing that I failed at. So yeah, just making more eye contact with the audience. Visually, I thought it helped, but it was just kind of, I don't know, I felt like it was just there, and you could have explained them, I guess, or had just maybe some data instead of just pictures. But overall, I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was good.
All right, I'll agree with a couple of things. I like the rhetorical question, the attention device that you have, and the topic is pretty clearly identified, and it sounds like you've got a good thesis. I think you need a better justification for why you're talking about this, and there's a solid preview of what's going on. But once we get to the speech, I just thought that there wasn't much there. It just seemed like, you know, we've got a passing comment about different types, and that's about it. And I'm not learning, you know, why that type would be valued, why they're important, the success or failure that people have at living up to that image, you know, how we would change the way we do any of those kinds of things. It just seems like, you know, you just, here's a picture, that's a type, here's a picture, that's a type, here's a picture, that's a type. And it's sort of like editorial comment about these folks without giving us any substance on it, and I'm not sure, you know, how important that is. Now, I got to be perfectly honest, I'm not big into the club scene, so I don't know what all that pickup stuff is all about these days. You know, so I may need a little bit more context here. Sounds like people are doing a lot more, well, never mind. You know, you mentioned, for instance, the game, and you're talking about that one guy. I'm going, okay, well, this sounds like something that it might be interesting to talk about, that we should hear something about, and why is this necessary, and how does it work, and, you know, what's different about it, and is it successful? But it just comes up almost exactly like one of the pictures. It's something to comment on, and then we're on to the next thing to comment on, instead of, you know, developing an explanation about it. I don't get any source citations, so it feels like the first go through at an idea before you've gotten to developing it and turning it into something substantive. It's just like, oh, I got this idea about what I want to talk about, and here's some things that seem like they'd be good visuals that would, you know, add to it, but it hasn't turned into a speech per se. It's just the highlight reel, so to speak. But I thought you did a nice job talking to the audience. Your voice is in control, and you generally look at us. Occasionally you get those awkward pauses, and I think that's partly because you're trying to figure out what you're saying next, so that it doesn't sound like it's just, you know, click next slide. And that's why you need some more substance in the presentation. All right, thank you.